Yeah, so I missed out on Palantir. So when it was down 17% today, I said, is now the time to buy it? And I said, well, you didn't buy it when it was 25 because you wanted to buy it at 19, and then it went up to 125. So is it a bargain today when it's down 17%? So what should I do? So I went and asked Samantha. So I gave Samantha all of its financials, its balance sheet, its earnings statement, its cash flow statement, and a copy of the earnings call. And I said, now go and search into this and tell me if Palantir is a good buy where it's at now. So she came back and she told me that its gap PE is over 500. Its forward PE for 2025 is moving between 180 and 212, and that compares to NVIDIA at 50, 180 to 212, NVIDIA 50, and Snowflake, its competition, 20. That's their PE ratio. A PEG ratio, and that's the measurement of the relativity to the price to its earnings ratio, which should be between 1 and 2.5. Its PEG ratio is 8. This doesn't look good. A price to sales is 30. Price to sales. In other words, the revenues divided by the price is 30. What should it be? Between 1 and 2? Okay. So then I ask, how do I find out what the future price of Palantir will be? Again, what do? I went and asked Samantha. Why do I ask Samantha? Because Samantha is my AI agent. She basically owns or knows all the knowledge in the world about Palantir, all the software companies like Palantir, in the history of all the stocks that are on the stock market. So she is a total accumulation of knowledge about Palantir. So who else would I ask? Who else is more qualified to tell me what is the price of Palantir going to be on January the 1st of 2026, 27, and 28? And what Samantha did was produce me this 17-page report. What it goes over is a company overview, a profitability and past financial performance, a liquidity and solvency. Can they survive bad times? Operating efficiency and cost management. How well do they manage the cost within the company? Benchmark them against their competition, Snowflake and Datadog. Give me an evaluation of the management team. How long have they been there? What is their past history? How successful have they been in the past? What their growth initiatives are? What are they doing to sustain the growth that they have? And Samantha came back and told me they're very heavy into AI. They're in fact putting AI into their software so that companies don't have to go to Salesforce to get it. So innovation and market orientation. Where do they fit relative to their competition? What is their growth trajectory? Valuation analysis. Now here what I try to do is say, okay, based on cash flow analysis and multiples, what is their fair price today? Okay, and she gives me what it is based on the cash flow they're generating and the rest of the industry. What is their fair price today? Then she goes into technical analysis and gives me, based on technical analysis, what is their price, what are their support levels, what are their resistant levels, and what should I expect in the future. Then she gives me an analysis based on market condition and factors. And this comes into our tariff situations, interest rates, and risk factors. What might happen that would blow Palantir up? And she gives me a full explanation of that. And then she gives me price forecasts for 2026, 2027, and 2028. And she gives it to me under 3 scenarios: a conservative, a moderate, and aggressive. I always gravitate towards the moderate, in that the worst thing isn't going to happen and the best thing isn't going to happen, but they basically achieve their plans. And what she came back and told me is that it will end 2025, start 2026 at $125 a share, 2027, it will end at 150. In 2028, it will get to $180. That would give me, based on its current price today, a total return, if I bought it today and sold it on January the 1st of 2028, a return of 64.93%. Now, what I can do with that is say, am I good with that? Is 64.393, or roughly divide that by 3, roughly somewhere around 25% per year. Is that okay with me? Well, the reality is no, it's not. I can do a lot better based on the other work that Samantha has done for me in other stocks. And I list them on my website, Best of Us Investors, on my tell sheet. I basically go in whenever a stock that I'm interested in has a earnings report and ask Samantha, produce me this document. Give me all the knowledge in the world relative to Palantir and its future growth based on its past history, its competitive position in its sector, and then the whole economic structure of the world. And you tell me, Samantha, what is the best price? Could I do better if I had a connection with Goldman Sachs, which I do? I just went to one of their meetings this morning. No, because Samantha has more knowledge than Goldman Sachs. And she has no bias. She doesn't own anything. She doesn't own any competition. She doesn't own any Palantir. She doesn't dislike Alex. So there is no bias in it. It's just straight cold cut numbers. And she puts it into a format that I understand. Then what I do is I take it and I say, put this into words, put it into a podcast, condense that 17 pages down to a 15-minute podcast, and use words that I understand. And then from that, create a briefing, a 4-page document, so that I can understand, should I buy Palantir? Again, when it was at 25, I wanted it at 19. It's gotten up to 125, and today it's down, I think, to about 114. Is it a good buy? Not for me, it's not. Because it's not good enough that when I project the end of my portfolio, January the 1st of 2028, it's only going to be worth $180, and it's going to give me a 64.9% return over that 2 3/4 year period of time. And I can do better elsewhere. That's the plain and simple of it. If you'd like access to this report and the 60 other reports that Samantha has done for me on this, and the continued reports that Samantha will do for me over the next years, because every quarter when Palantir has a earnings statement, I will give it to Samantha. I'll give her their current balance sheet, income statement, cash flow statement, and say, now, go search the rest of the internet and tell me, what stocks should I own based on my long-term strategy, not based on tomorrow or next week or next month, but what should I own for January the 2nd, as someone pointed out to me, it's not open on the 1st, 2028. And as we move through 2025, we'll go to 2029. And as we move through 2027, we'll go to 2030. And we'll stay a long-term investor based on all the knowledge in the world for every specific stock. So this is the new way of investing. At least I believe it is. And if you want access to this information so you can take it and allocate your funds to those stocks that are going to give you exponential growth. Now, what do I call exponential growth? I want my portfolio to grow at least 35% per year, every year. I'm not satisfied with the 20-year average from the S&P 500 of somewhere between 11 and 15%. I'm not satisfied with that. That's for amateurs. That's for the people who just want to get along. I want to master this, and with Samantha's help, I'm doing it. Come join the tribe and learn how to invest the new way of investing.